I don't think this is something that I should really be sharing, but fuck it. No one that knows me will find out on this board, and even if they do, I doubt shit's going to happen to me. I think it will cause too much of a stir, and will cause some serious infighting between us all that nobody really wants. I'm going to tell you about a strange experience. Well, more like a series of experiences that I had selling narcotics and other things at different parties for the elites where I experienced much more than I think I was ever supposed to. Things got extremely dark, extremely quickly, and I don't think I was supposed to be let in on this side of things, at least not yet. For context, my father is an important man and runs in some elite circles and has connections that you would not believe. I'm just a piece of shit dropout who does nothing except live off daddy's money and be a raging disappointment to my family. So I have kind of never really been in the know or been involved in any kind of personal business to do with my family, and I stumbled upon this unintentionally. My father is aware I saw all of this. I told him straight away, and he told me just to keep my mouth shut and he would make sure that I would be perfectly okay. I guess I will Greentext to make this easier. Be me, upper-class American burnout dropout. Grew up in the suburbs of California, basically living the high life. Dad is important, but basically neglects all of his kids and is emotionally cut off from anything except for his own work. I grew up resenting him, and he basically hates me. Family has always been well off. Can't mention my father by name, but he is big time. Not a celebrity exactly, but he is old money and a big shot. I end up being a total fuck up and dropping out of school to sell narcotics as my own way of trying to rebel and being independent so I don't have to rely on my dad's blood money, like selling shit to poor people was any more noble. I say I dropped out, but I got expelled for reasons I would really rather not go too far into, because it is bad, and I still feel guilty. Basically beat a kid half to death over some stupid dispute and got kicked out, but I got off any criminal charges because of my dad, plus it was a rich kid school and they don't ever involve the police. Never gave the fucker a chance. I'm not strong at all, which is why I took a bat to his head when he was not looking. I got disowned by my father for a while, and by that, I mean he started paying for me to live on my own in a shitty property in a poorer area as punishment. To repay him, I started dealing, both to try and spite him, and also to earn a bit of my own money. I was stupid, and younger than I am now, and I thought I was a big shot and basically untouchable because of my father, and I thought he would get me out of any bad situations that I would find myself in, just like the past. First time I tried with a few of my friends, I got beaten up and robbed for being on someone else's turf, and I gave up for a while, but did not want to be defeated so easily. Did some scouting and research and shit, and found a better area where I would not get potentially killed. Started hanging outside universities and schools in the richer area, as well as other places, to try and suss out the rich suckers. That became my life for a short while. I dealt to rich kids with strict parents, and I dealt to businessmen looking for a quick fix who didn't have those kinds of connections. I also sold my shit very cheap, so it was much easier to entice people. You might think that rich people would have no need for me, because they can get what they want, whenever they want, which is true, but I was more convenient. With me, I made sure there was no waiting. I would travel straight to them, and would have whatever you could possibly want, right there and then. No smuggling, no dealing with law enforcement or border patrol, no dealing with mafias or anyone too dangerous. The elite of the elite, like my father, would not bother, but for the elite who was slightly lower on the totem pole, it was brilliant. Ended up becoming a party organizer for some people, and turned up and provided whatever they wanted. Started working bigger parties and projects, and ended up in some higher circles through a girl that I met who I dealt to. These people did not recognize me, because why the fuck would they recognize some loser dropout like me? I made sure to never mention my father's name around these people, because I did not want him to bust me, or to draw too much attention to myself. I became pretty good friends with this girl that I met through the scene. She is mega rich, old money, just like my father, and her dad is an investment banker and owns properties around town or whatever. I started arranging things with her and providing her parties with whatever she needed. Not just product. I kind of have connections to get literally whatever they could ever dream of. After a few months, I get introduced to some of her extended family at some party at one of the properties that is owned by the family. I won't say which one, but it is massive. They give me my own driver, who escorts me to the party, along with some clothes that they specifically want me to wear. It's like some navy suit with an insignia stitched into the lining and onto the pockets that I don't really recognize. Some kind of weird S-shape, but it doesn't really mean anything to me though. Figure it's just some weird family insignia that I haven't come across because again, I'm a recluse who doesn't really care for that kind of rich hippy-dippy shit, and that maybe they want everyone to wear it, so they can easily identify who is who or whatever. Figure because I'm their guest, they want me to wear their insignia. Cool, sure. They also provided me with some kind of mask or whatever. Kind of like one of those ball mask things. You see it like a masquerade type ball, but it has some kind of pattern on it. And again, it has that same weird S insignia. Not really sure what it is for, but I make sure to keep it with me. I arrive, and the house is crazy. Nothing really too much of note happened here, aside from me meeting a lot of her rich family, who had a lot of connections. I asked the girl I knew what the deal with the mask was, and she told me that everyone needs one in case of special events that happen occasionally, and that I need to bring it with me every single time. Okay, sure. Chat to a couple of people in passing, just to appear friendly and play the part, but try to avoid people as much as possible to not draw too much attention to myself. Do meet one dude of note, related to the girl that I know. I think possibly her uncle or something like that. He introduces himself, and I'll just call him Jay for now to make it easier. Jay is the snobby type. Could instantly tell he was looking down on me, but he was also clearly very intelligent and good at using people to his advantage. He obviously wanted to use me too. I entertain whatever inane nonsense he's talking about politics and other shit about how the upcoming project will save America and how only one man can save us and blah blah blah. I'm pretty much zoned out and just occasionally nodded or said from time to time. Jay eventually tells me that he has an important business opportunity for me and that he would like to introduce me to his associate and have a talk. Fuck it, sure. Anything to keep making money. Jay leads me upstairs and into a locked room and locks it behind us. His associate is waiting in the room for me and sitting in a chair, and Jay tells me to sit down. I ask what the fuck is going on and why he locked the door, and Jay slaps me and shoves me into the seat. He tells me that he is not an idiot, and that he knows who my father is, despite my attempts to deceive them. Says he had some people do some digging on me the first time I showed up with his niece at other places, and it didn't take them very long. Oh fuck. I am so boned once my father finds out. They tell me they have an offer for me, and I can either accept and help them out and make a lot of money in the process, or I can say no, and they will tell my father, and there will be consequences for fucking with another family. I basically have no choice, and ask them what it is that they want me to do for them. They say they want me to use my connections to help with an event that they are organizing for both their family and a few others in the area that they seek to gain favor with. I don't really understand half of what he's saying, but I'm like, sure, what do you need? They make some pretty bizarre requests, but tell me that I don't need to do the legwork personally. They give me a list of people that they know my father has affiliations with, and that as long as I provide a way to meet with them, that's my end of the deal. I'd never met any of these people personally, but I knew some names and faces and addresses that my dad basically forced me to memorize. Plus, using my name was a way to instantly get them to meet because of their respect for my father. I had to show up once or twice as proof, but did not sit in on the meetings as I really did not want to know. Most of the time though, Just the name was enough. They did want one more thing from me though. They wanted me to personally attend the event as their guest, while wearing their insignia as a show of allegiance. This family thing is starting to sound like some fucking weird elite cult shit, and I do not fuck with that. Whatever my father is in on, or whoever he knows, I do not fuck with that. They tell me it's that, or the alternative, and I reluctantly agree. I set them up with who they want, without really knowing what they want from those specific people, and then lay low until the day of the event. Day of the event comes around like a month later, and I am shitting my pants. Sure, I dealt for a while, and I was able to deal with most people, but I had never been involved in something on this level. My dad always tried desperately to get me to attend all these weird events and meet his contacts and try and build up my reputation, but I always turned him down because it is not something I have ever cared about. I never really cared for being well known or liked or respected, and just wanted to lay low and get on with everything. He would chastise me and belittle me, telling me I would never make anything of myself. Eventually got to the point where he told me he was ashamed of me and didn't want me to represent the family anymore, and told me that he would never be seen in a public setting with me anymore and stopped getting me to go to these events. I did go to one with him just one time to stop him from pestering me, which was really weird, but I did not think anything of it at the time. That's a story for a different time though. A car pulls up outside to my place. 3 guys in suits and shades, and they tell me to get in, and that they would be personally escorting me to ensure I made it there and didn't get lost. I asked if I could just grab something, and they told me to shut the fuck up and just get in the car. They gave me my clothes and told me to get changed in the back before we got there. They tell me that it is especially important that I am wearing the mask provided for me at this event. I ask why, but they just give me the silent treatment. The car isn't like a limo or anything fancy. It's literally like a normal yellow LA cab, except the windows are tinted, and the plates are very clearly not Cali plates. They were NYC plates, which is really odd, especially since they went to all of this effort to be inconspicuous with just a regular cab. I'm not sure if it was an oversight by a couple of idiot guards, or if it was intentional. Maybe to send a message or something, but why? It meant nothing to me, and it's not like anyone there would be inspecting license plates. We drive for a while and pull up to a place that is about as rural as you can get in LA. It's not the kind of property I was expecting. Looks a little shitty and run down, and definitely does not have enough room for a party. I'm told to put on my mask before I get out of the car, and I do so. There are no cars around the place at all, and I am wondering what is going on. I get pulled around to the back of the property when I get there, and I am searched thoroughly by 2 guys. They take my IDs and wallet, and anything that can identify me, and then they tell me they need me to remove my mask. I take it off, and they snap a photo of me, and then tell me to put it back on. I have to sign some forms before they let me in, and they start reading off a list of rules like they're the police, reading me my rights. It's all a little strange, especially since a few flimsy forms would not stop anyone legally, but I guess it's just an extra layer of scare to say don't try anything, asshole. I suppose a signature on a dated document, as well as my picture, is good proof that I was there and assures mutual destruction for anyone attending. My end of the deal is already finished. Product was shipped to the place beforehand, as well as other things. All I had to do now was wait for the night to be over. I speak to Jay and his business partner for a while and flit about from room to room, and while the place is packed with people, I don't really see what the purpose of enlisting me and my father's associates were. I try to leave the property to smoke, and I am told I can't leave until the event is over. It wasn't until a while later that I found out what the event was. There's this older chick I run into. I think she's a friend of Jay's and is also from a very powerful family. She must be in her mid to late 30s or something, and we just make small talk before she tells me that she wants to show me something. I kind of like where this is going. She leads me through a couple of rooms until eventually we go down into a cellar. It's a little kinky, but sure. Hopefully no bugs down here, Lamau. We get into the cellar, and there is another door down here. It's like reinforced steel or some shit, and looks like it could survive a nuclear bomb. She knocks on it. A guard opens it up and inspects us for a few moments and then lets us in. He tells us that the main event will be starting soon and that we should settle in before the boss comes down. I guess he means Jay. Bear in mind, even the security guards are wearing masks at this place, all with the same insignia as what I am wearing. The lady I am with has the same, but once we walk into this place, we see a few different symbols. One is like a red circle with like a skyscraper or something in the center of it. One is like a gold eagle on a red background, spreading its wings with its body facing the front, but with its head turned to the side. There are multiple like this, and I eventually notice my own family crest. There are a few people with it, but I notice one man with it, and it is obvious who that man is. His gait, his cadence, the aura he radiates as he looks down on everyone that walks by him. It had to be my fucking dad. I was weirded out, and I kept my distance. I spent half of the time there trying to avoid him, fearing what he would say and what might happen to me. I guess when Jay started contacting people that my father knew, he wanted to get in on it. That's the only thing I can guess at. Otherwise, why would Jay ever need me? Maybe he wanted to lure my dad out in the first place, and I was the key, but I don't know. That kind of family politics, I do not understand. We are already down underground, but this lady eventually leads me to an elevator. A fucking elevator. We enter it, and there are only 2 buttons. This floor, and one further down. I'm starting to get a little creeped out, because she is not even speaking to me, and shushes me every time I try to ask questions. We exit the elevator, after what seems like forever, and we walk down a hallway that is almost bathed in darkness, aside from a few tiny, weak lights that barely guide our way. There is another door at the end that she has to enter a code for, and then we enter. Seems like another party is going on down here too, just with different sets of people. The lady leads me to what is like a big black curtain that blocks off another area. She speaks with the guard and we enter. What the fuck? As soon as I enter, I am greeted by the sight of some women and also some men, all chained up against the wall. They are chained up and pinned to the wall a few feet off the ground, and they're pinned to what look like those wheels that you can spin to win prizes. Some of the men have vicious scars all across their body, and all of the people chained up are completely naked. The lady asks me if I want to go first, or if she should show me how it is done. I am speechless, and I can do nothing but stammer as she spins the wheel. She spins one of the men, and he lets out kind of a low groan, but it's clear he isn't all there right now. His pupils were massively dilated, and I guess they have them fucked up on a cocktail that keeps them barely conscious, but not enough to know exactly what is going on. The wheel stops spinning, and I have not even been paying attention to what it says. My head is feeling a little woozy, and I can't make out the text, but the lady excitedly exclaims that it says, right arm. She pulls back another curtain that reveals a massive wall of weapons. Anything you can think of, and it was there. She pulls a machete off the wall and tells me that this one is all hers, and that I will have to wait my turn. I'm not even kidding. This woman started going crazy. She started slowly making cuts into the chained up man's arms, but that only lasted a few seconds, and she could not hold it any longer. The man did not even scream. He made a few grunts, and his breathing became more labored, but I guess the cocktail or whatever stopped him from feeling too much. She started hacking at his arm again and again. The first connection was not clean, and got stuck about halfway in, but she kept slicing and cutting in quick succession. Blood was all over the walls and her, and none of the others chained up were reacting at all. After a minute or so, the man's arm was barely hanging on, and I could see it dangling loosely, clinging by a few tendons while blood was gushing to the floor. I felt sick and just turned around and started running. I heard a few more slices as I was running away and heard something fall to the ground with a thud. I ran all the way back and took the elevator back up. I was planning on leaving right away, but that plan was stopped immediately. Almost as soon as I stepped out of the elevator, I ran into Jay. He told me he was about to come looking for me and reminded me of our deal. He told me that the main event was starting and that I had to at least watch the beginning. I stood to the back of the room and watched as security guards started to wheel in men and women on gurneys who were completely tied up and neutralized by whatever cocktail they had concocted. Each person there would have the chance to bid, and each person bid enthusiastically. They would bid on the prisoners, and then they would do whatever sick sadistic thing that they wanted to them. They would beat them and torture them and whatever else, and everybody there had to watch as they did it. They did not just watch, they reveled in it. My father won a bid close to the end of the night. A young man, looked to be about my age. He performed a little speech and told everyone how he was sick of his piece of shit lazy son and that he was going to enjoy himself pretending that the prisoner was him. He cut off his ears. He pulled his teeth and fingernails and then just started beating the shit out of him. He did not even care about the torture at this point. He just hit him over and over again until his face and brain were just a mush. He started with his fists and ended with a bat. I had to leave after that. I vomited as soon as I got outside. A lot more happened. I witnessed a lot more, but reliving it all right now is just too much. I can't bear to type it out. I wasn't just allowed to go home. I had to be driven back in the same cab and by the same staff. I became a bit of a recluse and didn't leave my home for close to a month before I finally got my head on straight and realized that I needed to get the fuck out of there before something happened to me. There wasn't really anywhere I could run. I didn't have enough money and knew no one outside of where I lived. I had to run back to my father. I told him what I saw. I told him that I was afraid of becoming like the people there, and he told me to shut the fuck up. He told me that I was not supposed to see any of this yet, that he wanted to build my involvement gradually, but that it was too late now. He told me that as long as I did what he says and attended any events that he asked of me, then I would be safe. But if I did not, then there would be consequences. He told me he hated who I was, but that he needed someone to inherit and continue his legacy and keep his connections open. This was a few years ago. I have my own place now, but I am firmly rooted in my father's lifestyle. I am part of the family business, both the official and the unofficial one, and I have no way out anymore. This isn't even the worst thing I have ever experienced, but I fear if I say any more, then I will be killed. This story doesn't really give enough away to be a threat, but if I give too many of the stories, it will reveal too much. I don't know. I guess I just wanted to rantex. I have never personally killed anyone, but I have had to witness a lot of other people doing that. I hate this. I hate what I have become, and I hate the society that I have become a part of, but I have no choice. I assume the rest of my family knows exactly what goes on and just turns a blind eye. Why do they do it? To socialize? Because they can. Because they think it makes them better than other people, and they just see non-elite people as things to play with. I'm sorry, X, but I can't answer any questions. I just hope you'll pray for me. I don't deserve any pity. I am a coward who cannot face up to the evil that is in front of me. I wish I had the strength, but I am just not that type of person. I wish I could go back to my old life as a recluse, but I am too scared of being hurt and can only think of myself. I'm still not fully sure why Jay involved me, but I guess I'll find out in due time. I've had a lot of time in the security world, and my favorite gig was an armed patrol security company that I used to work for. We would primarily run security for Section 8 complexes. I was OIC of this in a major US city. The adrenaline rushes are addicting. So, these Section 8 complexes get pretty ominous at night. The freedom of patrol is being able to respond to calls and really stretch your legs during a shift. If one area was calm, you could head out to an area that needed you. Around 2 a.m., patrolling in complex comprised of multiple 3 to 4 story buildings. Place was so bad, we would roll gun in hand sometimes. Roll around to the rear of this building. Notice one of the boards of a dilapidated building is ajar. We would clear these buildings for vagrants and other illegal activities. Get out of patrol car. Look around the area. It is dead quiet. Figure I'll clear the building. It will give me something to do. Once I get inside, I look around. The regular, once occupied dwellings have signs of previous life. Always wonder who lived inside, what decisions in their life led them here, and what exactly happened that caused their building to be taken over by gangs and then forcefully moved out. I would always find the odd legal letter here and there, the odd children's drawing of their family or the sun and flowers. Round the corner of one unit, and I find something interesting. I find a hole. I figure I can get through there pretty easy, and I am curious on what is on the other side. I am getting drywall all over myself, inhaling the good old asbestos. I'm now a dog on the hunt. I find a series of holes, one leading to the next. The building is pretty big, mind you. You had to have maybe 50 units inside. Honestly having fun in this ghetto labyrinth, still going deeper into the abyss. You would find constant graffiti around. Sometimes it was a menu of services in the area. Sometimes it was a child just screwing around. Figure I had to be getting closer to the end. Shouldn't be that many units left. I would always stop and read what I come across. Sometimes it was intel, but I would always think of myself as a ghetto archaeologist and absorb everything I could. Finally reach the end of this whole journey. The end has a bigger room attached to a smaller one on the side. Clearly, this is the sin room. Find a bunch of smashed phones in one corner, trash littered about. Signs of people that were in this room not too long ago. Then I start to find a lot of bullet casings about the area. Make sure to document one. See the last room I haven't looked into yet. Go into the last room, and that is when I see it. The danger zone bone. Make sure to take a pic when I realize, deep in a labyrinth no one knows I'm in. Radio is out of signal range. I have no backup. I see a bunch of shit in front of me. I think that's blood on the mattress. When I go in for a closer look, I hear a series of footsteps in front of me. Immediately know I'm deep behind jogger lines, and I need to get the fuck out of there. I'm not a cop. I don't give a shit what happened here. I need to get out of here. Book it out of the holes, get back in my car, light a ciggy, and hit the road to calm my nerves. Now I'm not sure if this was an execution, or just someone that was on a period or something. I don't know. I just know I didn't want to stick around and find out. This place had murders at least every month. It was honestly the worst I'd ever been to. It has now been demolished, but I find myself thinking about that ghetto maze from now, and then wondering what true stories happen there. Meant to type this at 7, but whatevers. Be me. Casino security bro. Native run casino. Bad mojo. A couple of people had taken their own life in the hotel. Lots of druggies. Business is dying there. First couple of months in, place is dead. I'm posted outside the main entrance. Hear a weird howling noise. Outside casino is mostly forest. Guest comes outside. There were 5 or so of them inside. Looks at me, and actively getting spooked. Rushes to car and leaves. Supervisor comes out later to relieve me from the post. Hears the howling, smiles, looks around before directly turning to me. Bobcat. The DNR denies there are bobcats up there. This will probably ruin the story, but honestly I think it was a bobcat, and the DNR is just stupid. I have one to share. It's not spooky as much as unsettling. Be me, 22-year-old security guard on their last shift. Been working this job since I left the Air Force. Finally getting around to going to college, so getting a new job in the campus library. I basically work a gate guard for some snobby rich neighborhood. Place is honestly the worst. People scam literally everyone they can. 75% of my job is turning away pizza guys who were given bad checks, or letting cops in to serve court orders. Last part of my shift. My replacement was supposed to be here at midnight, but now it's midnight. Fuck you, Kyle. Gray Nissan pulls up to my gate. God damn it, I just want to leave. Instantly feel like something is off. Woman is sweating profusely and extremely jumpy. Keeps ducking low or glaring when the occasional cars pass us. Just residents coming home. Ask her if she is okay. She says she's being followed by someone who assaulted her. Immediately tense up and go into high alert. Ask her if they're close. Start looking for anyone or any cars loitering around. She claims that the car that just passed us was the guy. Before I can say anything, he is coming back. It's a totally different car. She says another car is following her. Start to realize she was on something. Maybe you should call the policeman. They are all in on it. This is before I knew what gang stalking was. This carries on for a while, as she keeps indicating car after car is a pursuer. She claims that when they stop at a stop sign, that's them passing off their stalking duties to the next car. Finally, her boyfriend shows up. Fucker walks out of the bushes on the neighborhood side. Scares the fuck out of me. He starts trying to calm her down. Gives me the slow, I already know nod before I say anything. Eventually, he's able to get into the car and they drive away. Other guard shows up as my asshole begins to relax. Tell him about it and go home. Next day I get to work to find my boss and a sheriff waiting. They ask me about last night. I answer everything and show them the report I made of the thing. I find out that the boyfriend was stabbed multiple times and was currently in the ICU. Woman was still on the loose. I finish giving my statements, turn in my uniform, shake my boss's hand, and then go home. Officially no longer my problem. I still think about it occasionally. No idea if that guy died, or if they caught that girl, or even if she was on or off something. Like I said, nothing spooky like skinwalkers or anything, but very unsettling. I truly believe if I let her out of the car, she would have attacked me, so I guess I'm just lucky.